Major League Baseball. To welcome you in, Russ Dorsey, my main man, Ben Verlander. Ben, we're back on a Monday. How's your weekend?
Weekend was great. Went down to Anaheim to watch Justin pitch on Sunday. Threw great. Was throwing 97.5 miles an hour. He wants everyone to round up to 98. I'll give him that because we share a last name. He's throwing 98 miles an hour by Mike Trout. Easter Sunday, Anaheim, beautiful day. My weekend was great, man. How about you?
Yeah, man, it was good watching a lot of baseball, and Justin doesn't want to let the Grays fool him because he's still out there throwing smoke. But we got a lot to get to. But first, we want to remind you that watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup. Prefer to stream? Use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe through the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check getmyhometeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area. Ben, a lot happened over the weekend, and we talked about Atlanta. There's a little smoke brewing there at Truist Park. We're going to get to that in a second. Luis Ariz, scary moment in Sunday Night Baseball, went down in Houston, had to be carted off. They did put him on the 7-day concussion IL. So prayers up for Luis Ariz. Hopefully he comes off the IL soon. And you see Max Fried getting the job done for the Yankees. Novi Marte, big night in Baltimore. And yeah, a lot going on around Major League Baseball.
Russ, the more we see it here with Ronald Acuna, that headline, it's the biggest thing, as you said, in baseball. And the more I sit here and think about it, the more heated I get. I'm so frustrated by this situation because Jared Kelenic hits a ball off the wall, ends up getting thrown out at second base because he pimped it, thought it was a homer. I love bat flips. I love guys pimping homers. I'm for all of it, but there's really one rule, literally one rule. Make sure it goes out. Yeah. I don't care if it's half an inch out. I don't care if it's 100 rows deep. You just have to make sure it goes out. So you have the situation where he gets thrown out at second base, and then it's, okay, well, what's going to happen here? If you remember 2019, Ronald Acuna Jr. does the same thing. Brian Snickers follows him into the tunnel of the dugout, pulls him out of the game. He's crucified for it publicly, as in Acuna, crucified for it. Next thing you know, it's everywhere. And this situation, very similar. Complete opposite happens. Jared Kelenic stays in the game, plays the whole game. And then Brian Snitker afterwards says, well, I didn't really see it. And then it's, well, what do you mean you didn't see it? You're the manager of the team. What do you mean you didn't see the play? And if you're watching the ball and not the runner, okay, well, why didn't he get to second base? Let me go look at the million video replays we can see of it, or talk to one of my coaches. I don't get how you don't see it. I don't get how you say that publicly. I don't get how you let him stay in the game. I don't get any of it. Have some guts to pull your guy out of the game. And you know what? We're going to talk about Acuna's tweet because it was talked about there. Ronald Acuna Jr. is right. Should he have taken it to Twitter? I don't know. But he's absolutely correct. He would have been taken out of the game. He was taken out of the game. He was crucified for it. And now you have a team that's starting off poorly, and your manager has a chance to take this opportunity and run with it and kick his team in the butt, and he does absolutely nothing about it. This situation just pisses me off, Russ.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And I think the thing for Ronald, when you're the guy that all the pressure is put on, and you're the young guy and you're fun and you're flipping bats like he was, and you're the coolest kid in the class, and you think you got a homer, you didn't follow the one rule, the ball didn't go out the yard, you don't get where you're supposed to get, you probably should get a triple, you don't end up getting to third base, and you get pulled from that game. It's one of those moments. And Brian Snickers, a longtime baseball man, very big into respecting the game, et cetera, et cetera. Also, my man Chris Rose pointed out something today on his podcast where he said last year in Arizona, and I saw the video too, Marcell Ozuna hits an absolute bomb, or what appeared to be an absolute bomb, off the center field wall. He stood there and watched it for about 3 seconds. The ball didn't leave the yard. Ozuna got pulled. This is multiple players, multiple instances of Brian Snitker saying, you know what? You got to come out of the game because that's not how we do things. But apparently it is how you do things, Brian Snitker. And you talked about when he was asked about it, he said, oh, well, I didn't really see it. He also said, well, it's the timing. What timing? The guy doesn't hustle out the box. Once you are informed that that's what happened, even if we're going to play it like you didn't see it, even if you didn't see it and one of your cousins says, hey, he didn't run out of the box, didn't make it to second base or whatever, then you say, okay, he's out of the game. It's easy as that. And now you have an issue because you have your superstar in Ronald Acuna Jr. that's like, yo, I'm not getting treated as Ronald Acuna Jr. like everybody else. Like, apparently the rules are differently for me and Marcell Ozuna, but this is not even a guy in Jared Kelenic who has been in Atlanta for like 10 years. Jared Kelenic just got there. And so if you're telling your roster that it doesn't matter, the rules are different for certain people, you're going to start having a rift in your clubhouse.
He's hitting 180, Russ. I mean, look, this is no discredit to Jared Kelenic and what he brings to the team and whether he's a good player or a bad player. But one, this isn't Ronald Acuna Jr. Two, it's not like the guy's like on an all-time heater. He's hitting 180. So spare me the I didn't see it comments. If to me, let's say I didn't see it. Let's say I'm manager, by the way, sitting on the top shelf of the dugout, sitting on the railing, watching everything. Let's say I see the ball. I'm watching the ball. I'm not watching the batter. And I see how far it goes. And then I see him get thrown out at second base. One, it's pretty obvious what happened. It's obvious. Two, I'm asking the coach next to me, why did he get thrown out at second base? And three, if absolutely nobody saw what he did, again, it's obvious what happened. You go watch one of the many replays around on the iPad or on a TV. I can't fathom the excuse if I didn't see it. It's not an excuse. So then you just start thinking, it makes no sense to me when you have a team that's massively underperforming. And Russ, you and I have talked about the leadership issues on this team of where is it coming from? Well, this is a pretty eye-opening moment to say it's not coming from Brian Snitker. And then it becomes a problem. And then you lose the locker room. And I'm not saying they've lost the locker room because I'm not in there, you're not in there. But all I know is you have your superstar player, the best player in the organization, going publicly outing the manager saying, I would have gotten pulled in this situation. And he's right. That's an issue.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that are just really bad optics, right? Like, let's just say if we wanted to give Brian Snitker the benefit of the doubt of that, hey, you pulled Ronald out of the game, you pulled Marcell Ozuna out of the game, and in the spur of the moment, you decided not to pull Jared Kelenic out of the game. It's your responsibility to go talk to the media after the game and say, yeah, we should have done something different. Jared's not going to play tomorrow because of this. And then you move forward and you call Ronald, you smooth that out behind the scenes, because if you don't, this is going to continue to fester, right? Ronald's not even in the clubhouse yet as he's rehabbing from the second ACL surgery. When Ronald comes back, what is that room going to be like? When you feel like, yes, it might be this one instance of me not running out of the box, but there could be other little small things. And you've seen it, Ben. You've been around the game for a while. You know how clubhouses work. One small thing with another small thing, and now things start to snowball. And for a team that is underperforming and is really going to try to start to press because it's like, oh, shoot, we can let this division get away from us. Now all those things start to come out. And I just really think this was a rare misstep by Brian Snitker because it looks like he doesn't have control.
I agree completely. And I feel like this all could have been alleviated if the game ends, you get in the clubhouse, and Jared Kelenic, I know what he said to the camera. To the camera, he said there's no excuse for it, right? That's the easy thing to say. He needed to stand up in front of that locker room, in front of everybody, and say, that's my bad. That'll never happen again. I'll never do that again. There's no excuse for it, and I let you all down as teammates, and I'm sorry for that. And Brian Snitker should have come in and said, that's not the Braves way. We don't do that. Back to his statements from 2019 when this happened with Acuna, where he chased him down into the tunnel, pulled him out of the game, and then said publicly after, we don't do that here. That's not the Braves way. We run hard. We don't play the game that Ronald Acuna Jr. just did. He should have gotten up in front of the team, apologized to them for not taking Jared Kelenic out in that moment, and saying, again, I'm reiterating, we don't play that game here. We run the bases hard. Jared Kelenic will not be playing tomorrow. Again, I apologize for not taking him out in the moment. It's handled. I've talked to him. I want to apologize to you all now. Let's move on as a team. That didn't happen. He honestly should have called Ronald Acuna Jr. if he wasn't sitting there in that locker room as well and said, Ronnie, I apologize to you as well. I didn't take out Kelenic. I took you out. I apologize for that. Can't wait to have you back, buddy.
Yeah, and I think the one thing we've talked about the leadership before, and 2019, you had Dansby there. You had Freddie Freeman here. Two guys that would have no problem saying, hey, man, you can't do this, right? Like, you're going to have to come out of this game, and this is why, because this is the standard that we have set for ourselves. Those guys are gone. And so the guys they have in that room, a lot of them are not vocal guys, right? Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Michael Harris II. They're all like, more quiet guys. So you're looking for that guy in the room to like be the voice of reason. Maybe it's Chris Sale, and Chris Sale's been a veteran in the big leagues for a long time. It's only his second year in Atlanta, and you wonder like who is that on the position player side that would be that person. And I think this is one instance, but there are going to be other things that happen throughout the season where you're wondering, all right, who's going to be that leadership voice in the room for the Atlanta Braves? But it'll be interesting to see how they're able to try to move past this as they go along. We got a lot more coming up here on FanDuel Sports Network Live. Braves and Cardinals down at Truist Park. Here are the probables for the series.
You have a UTI at 30,000 feet. Yeah, you need a doctor. Good thing you can chat with an Amazon One medical provider from anywhere. That way, beds will be at your hotel, maybe even before you arrive. Now just brace your urethra for turbulence.
This MLB season, bet live with FanDuel and make the game come alive. Any homer can feel like a walk-off. Every base, a path to victory. And any strikeout can pay out. Make baseball come alive when you bet live this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if you win.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire.
Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Meet Jonathan Thompson, an award-winning international travel writer on a mission to discover the world's most dynamic, adrenaline-fueled destinations. From once-in-a-lifetime outdoor adventures to local traditions and cultures, Jonathan will immerse you in the most vibrant metropolitan areas. Elevate your senses, ignite your wanderlust, and let the journey begin as he explores the world's best adventure cities.
Welcome back. Want to remind you that watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup, prefer to stream, use your TV provider to log in on FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe to the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check GetMyHomeTeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area. As we welcome you back, Russ Dorsey, Ben Verlander here with you. Ben, the New York Yankees, they're a team we talked about a lot coming into the season, a lot of expectations. You lose your ace. Guys aren't hitting around Aaron Judge after the loss of Juan Soto. People are hovering over that panic meter, but things have started to stabilize. They go down to Tampa, play some decent baseball. They're getting some production for some guys they wouldn't expect to get it from. And I think you look at the Yankees now in their series in Tampa, you got a great start from Max Fried. Aaron Boone obviously getting ejected on a disputed foul ball call with Aaron Judge. But I look at this team, Ben, and I say, okay, this could have went bad if they had a bad start to the season. Like if they had a Braves level start, people would have been panicking in the Bronx. But Max Fried, after the loss of Garrett Cole, you pay Max Fried all this money to come from the Atlanta Braves, and he's been everything they've wanted him to be in an ace of a staff that has needed really good starting pitching, with Marcus Stroman not pitching well, with Carlos Rodon, having a good start, bad start, good start, bad start, no Cole, no Luis Gil. You've really needed Max Fried to be the big money guy in that rotation, and he's done just that.
I mean, thank God they signed Max Fried. Where would they be without him? I actually felt like coming into this year, clearly the offense wasn't as good as last year. I mean, Soto and Judge in that lineup together is just it. You don't make up for that production with Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt. You just don't. So then, as you said, you're getting production from guys right now. I think that you really needed to. If you're the New York Yankees and you wanted to be good this year, you needed Jason Dominguez to take a step forward. You needed Anthony Volpe to build on what he did last year. And now you look at the rotation led by Max Fried, and it's like, where would this team be without him? Garrett Cole goes down for the year. You're not going to have him. Now you have a certified ace. You do worry about health concerns there because Max Fried has dealt with health issues, but when pitching, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball over the last few years. So they've desperately needed him. So I have concerns with this team, but Russ, as we talked about last week, the thing the Yankees have going for them is who is the best team in the American League? The National League's a different conversation. You get off to a Braves start over there and you're not the Atlanta Braves, you're in trouble. There's many good teams in that league. On the American League side of things, not so much. Are the Tigers really the best team in the American League? Last week we said yes. It's a week later and they played fine. I still say that, but is it the Rangers? I don't know. Is it the Red Sox or Orioles over the Yankees? Probably not. So it is a weaker league, and the Yankees certainly have one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league as a whole, potentially the best team in the American League. So I just look at this team, and you're right. You get off to a bad start like if the Yankees did, panic button is absolutely hit. And it feels like right now, Max Fried every 5th day is saving. They're like teetering on the edge of that. And then Max Fried comes along and pulls that hand away from everybody saying, oh, we do have our ace. Garrett Cole and Max Fried would be great to have, but Max Fried right now is killing it for us.
Yeah, it's win day when Max Fried's on the mound. He's your stopper. That's why you pay him all that money, the most money ever given to a left-hander in free agency. And they're getting a lot of production from Trent Grisham. You did not think that's what you were going to get. You're getting a lot of production from Ben Rice, taking a step forward, wearing the 22 like Juan Soto. He's been hitting like Juan Soto. Juan Soto hasn't been hitting like Juan Soto lately. But, you need guys around Aaron. We know Aaron Judge is going to be Aaron Judge. In no season where he's played 150 games has he ever not hit 50 homers. So if he's healthy, he's going to be your top 3 MVP finisher, likely winning the MVP award. But you need those other guys in that lineup to also produce. But want to take you to a moment from that game with Max Fried in his no-hitter, was still throwing a no-hitter. You got a ground ball hit by Chandler Simpson, who just got called up a couple of days ago, the fastest guy in all of baseball, hit to Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt doesn't get it over to the bag in time. Simpson is safe. It is ruled a hit, as it should be, because Simpson can absolutely fly. Some people are wondering, it's probably an error with, the timing of everything with Goldschmidt. You take a guy's no-hitter away. It appears to be the right call, Ben. And the knowledge of the speed of Simpson is an important factor here. Like, it's not like Martin Maldonado, who had the slowest sprint speed in baseball, was running down the line. You're talking about an absolute burner. This feels like the right thing. Does this happen in the Bronx?
Your point is 100% correct. The fact that it's Chandler Simpson is the reason this is happening. He's the fastest guy in baseball, and the scorekeeper, who has to make a lot of judgment calls, made the judgment call of, I think if that play is made cleanly and Goldschmidt flips it over to Max Fried covering the base, Chandler Simpson still beats him. I tend to agree with him. Clearly, you agree with that as well. I think the right call was made. Now, where I will say I could see the other side is this happened in Tampa. For the first time, we have a Tampa Rays scorekeeper actually scoring it in Tampa itself, which is funny because it's actually the Yankees' home stadium, but they're actually in Tampa. Regardless, it gets ruled the way it did, right? But in the Bronx, if this were a Yankees home game and Max Fried is on the mound carrying a no-hitter into the 8th inning, I can see a world in which this call is ruled an error. And I wouldn't push back. Here's why. If I weren't a neutral party and I'm scoring in the home stadium, and you're not supposed to, but like it happens. The play did not allow us to see who wins the race to the bag, right? Is Chandler Simpson most likely winning the race? Yes. But I wasn't able to see that because Paul Goldschmidt booted a ball that he should have made a play on. he made an error, and we weren't able to see who won the race down the line. So if Paul Goldschmidt fields it cleanly, flips over to Max Fried cleanly as well, is it 100% that Chandler Simpson wins it? It's probably 99, but we didn't get to see that because of the error that was made. I could see it being ruled an error in New York, and I wouldn't have the biggest problem with it. Although, if I'm the hitter, I have a massive problem with it. I'm beating that play to the bag. So, look, I think it was the right call. I think everybody should realize it was the right call, but I could see if it was in the Bronx it going differently. Doesn't make it the right call. Chandler Simpson was winning that race to the bag, Ross.
Yeah, I think I would be more bothered today if the game was in the Bronx and the scorekeeper at Yankee Stadium said that was a hit, not an error. Because even if Max Fried had gone on to throw the no-hitter, it wouldn't feel valid because you know that play wasn't made correctly, right? You know that was an error. Paul Goldschmidt would tell you, yeah, I probably should field that ball clean. That's an error. And the result shouldn't justify you doing the right thing or not. And so, yeah, that's the part where I look at it and I say, I get what people are saying. I get why, a Yankees fan would be upset. But we make such a big deal, especially in today's day and age, about getting calls right. And that doesn't feel like it is a, gray area type of thing. Like, I think it's black or white. Like, some might view it as gray, but I think it's like, hey, was that an error or was it not? Yes, it was a average major league first baseman, but especially a guy that's won a Gold Glove award before makes that play 10 times out of 10. And because of that, with the speed of the runner, you got to make that right call.
Yeah. Wait, so do you think they should have said it was an error, or do you think they should have said hit?
Yeah, I might have switched it up. I think I switched it up. Yes. It should have been a hit.
Okay, you agree with the call that was
But
made.
like if you're going another way and it doesn't get fielded clean and they call an error, like if they were in Yankee Stadium, that was my point. If they were in Yankee Stadium and the same play happens and they call it an error, I would be upset because you would say that a Gold Glove winner in Paul Goldschmidt, along with the speed of Chandler Simpson, he's not, even if it's bang bang, he's not going to beat him to the bag most likely. So yeah, I think in that situation, hit 100%. If it was flipped and they call it an error, I would be in here saying that really pissed me off, man.
Yeah,
there we go. We got it right.
I get it, and but you sort of made the argument to, like, I can see how the others should be made. Paul Goldschmidt's a Gold Glover. He booted a ball that should have been made. If he doesn't, he cleans it. He feeds it cleanly to Max Fried, and maybe he does beat it. If you're watching the replay, it's like, yeah, it looks like Simpson probably beats it, but like, it is. I know you like black or white. It's not here. I mean, this is a true scorekeeper says Simpson would have won the race to the bag. Do I agree? Yes. Do you agree? Yes. But we don't know that for a fact. We can't. All I do know is Paul Goldschmidt, a Gold Glover, should have made that play, and it allowed us to not have the opportunity. As a player myself, as a hitter, I want that to be a hit. If I'm going to win the race to the bag, it should have been a hit. I do tend to agree with the call. I'm just saying, if it were in New York, I could see where they're coming from, and I can see why Yankees fans are mad. But, that's sports. You weren't at home. You were on the road, and the right call was probably made.
Real quick before we go to break, would you like a official score overseer that, like, they can be with the official scorer on the call and say, yeah, where are you leaning? I'm probably leaning that way because X, Y, or Z. Or do you think that's too much oversight?
I'm glad you asked this, but I'm pissed you said real quick because I have many thoughts here. I don't like official scores. Here's why. Many of them, you got to play the game. So what I would say to you is, because people sitting up in the press box, the game looks easy from up in the press box. I would like to see people, and it's tough to do it, to have an official scorekeeper down in the stands, but put some people in, have one official score, but have a couple you don't know which one it is. Put them down in the action. See how fast it is. See how fast 100 miles an hour is. Russ, when I was standing in the box 60 feet, 6 inches away from a pitcher that's throwing 100 miles an hour, I had to time my blinking. That's how fast this game is. It takes 0.2 milliseconds to blink. It takes 0.8 to decide if you're going to swing, if it's a ball or a strike, what the pitch is. Life comes at you fast. And I don't think sitting in row 100 up in the press box allows you that opportunity to see how fast the game is, to say, you know what, the shortstop booted that ball, but he was trying to do it all in one motion and snap and throw and get it in and out. And that's a really tough play to make. We're going to call this a hit. So I think the whole scoring system needs an overhaul, to be honest. But I'll say yes, we need multiple people to be able to help come to the right decision here.
We're gonna have to circle back to this one day because you have a lot more thoughts than I let you have there, but we definitely got to go to break. Here are the probables for Yankees and Guardians coming up this week.
FanDuel held a shooting contest to promote its new MySpend tool. MySpend makes it easy to view your deposit and bet history all in one place. Because betting without knowing how much you're spending is like shooting in the dark. See the whole picture. Make FanDuel's MySpend tool part of your system and stop shooting in the dark.
I'm with 2018 lacrosse national champion Christian Gaudy for the FDA's Don't Get Burned Sunscreen Challenge.
Bring it, Daryl.
She's tough, but I won't get burned today. I'm using a broad spectrum sunscreen.
The FDA recommends broad spectrum sunscreens with an SPF of 15 or higher with other sun protection measures to reduce the risk of sunburn and skin cancer.
You smoked me, Kristen.
That's because I use sunscreen so I wouldn't get burned by you and the sun.
Broad spectrum sunscreen. It's a winning play every time.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our every day.
You're sick, on vacation, and now your wife is faced with going out there, with them, alone. But mom's having none of that. She got you a virtual visit with Amazon One Medical. And soon, beds will get delivered right to the hotel. Because no one gets out of joyful family fun. No one.
Want to remind you that watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup. For the stream, use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe to the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check GetMyHomeTeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area. Welcome back. Ben Verlander, Russell Dorsey with you. Ben, we got some breaking news here. We've been talking about the Braves a lot, and ears must have been ringing over there at Truist Park. They have placed Spencer Strider on the 15-day IL with a hamstring strain. Not great news. Spencer Strider making his debut in Toronto last week, looking pretty good. According to reports from reporters down there, strained his hamstring, Brian Snitker said, while playing catch today. When it rains, it pours. That's what it feels like right now for the Atlanta Braves. You've been waiting all month long for your ace, Spencer Strider, to come back healthy, and it's not an arm injury, which you're feeling good about, but it is another injury that kind of sets him back in where he wanted to be, his road to really ramping up where you wanted him. This just feels like this is just not the Braves' time right now. Like just the vibes aren't great in Atlanta.
100%. Vibes are off. Big reason I picked them to do as well as I did this year, which was winning the World Series, with Strider coming back, Acuna coming back. We know how good the offense has been. None of that's been None of that's been happening so far. Then you finally get Strider back, looks good. He goes right back on the IL. You got these Snicker comments that we talked about earlier. It's just, like you said, the vibes seem off. And this is just more bad news. Right when you start playing pretty well. So the NL, you don't have the time to wait around and let the rest of the league pass you. Now you're starting to play well. This happens. You're still waiting on Acuna. So bad start mixed with injuries isn't great, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, you don't have much leeway if you are the Braves. Let's get to another division where you don't have leeway, the AL East, and we have talked about it a couple of weeks in a row. You talk about the Yankees up top, then you got the Blue Jays playing well, the Red Sox are starting to play better, the Orioles, and then the Tampa Bay Rays that are going to give you 27 out tonight. But let's talk about the Orioles because they got absolutely bludgeoned by the Cincinnati Reds on Sunday, 24-2. You see the numbers right there. Austin Wynns, Noelvi Marte had a game. I believe they were 13 for 16. Each had a homer in that game. 13 RBIs between the two of them. That is a monster box score right there. Not often do you see 24 runs on 24 hits. This isn't great for the O's right now. And I look at this Orioles team as you look at the spray chart of what the hits look like, what 25 hits looks like in a game there at Camden Yards. But I look at this Baltimore Orioles team, and Ben, I usually, you know me, I'm rational, right? It's the reporter in me. I can't help it. I like to let things play out. But every once in a while, you get enough evidence to see something that concerns you. And I've seen enough in the Baltimore Orioles starting pitching to say I am seriously concerned, because I look at a team that's been in their window, that had young talent, that had young guys like Adley Rutschman that you think can be a young superstar at the catching position, Gunnar Henderson, a young superstar at short, Jackson Holliday, Cedric Mullins reverting to his old form. You're getting homers from Tyler O'Neill, Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle, and yet for the last 3 seasons, they've needed starting pitching. You go out and you get Corbin Burns for a year, you let him walk in free agency, and time after time after time with the need of starting pitching, they say, you know what? What can we do on the cheap? Let's go get Charlie Morton. He's still pitching. Like, let's go get Sagano from Japan. All right, that's cool, but he's 35 years old. Look at these ERAs, Ben. A ERA over almost 11 for Charlie Morton. And I like Charlie Morton a lot. Been a really solid starting pitcher for a long time. But at some point, Father Time's undefeated, and it feels like we're getting to that point. Dean Kramer, almost a 7 ERA. Cade Povich, almost a 7 ERA. Sagano's actually been pretty good. It was better in his last start, but he's had some up and down starts. Zach Eflin, who had been on the IL. Grayson Rodriguez, probably their best starting pitcher, been on and off the IL a lot over the last couple of years. Ben, they had opportunities to add in a time where they have a lot of pre-arb guys, and they just said, nah, man, we can't do it. We got to do it on the cheap. And it feels like they're about to blow a window if they don't do something quick.
Russ, I know myself, and I know I'm going to get fired up here because the Baltimore Orioles needed pitching, right? We knew that coming into the year. We knew that 2.5 years ago when Adley Rutschman got called up. The Orioles organization changed around the day Adley Rutschman got called up to the big leagues. And since that day, they have continued to bring up more and more guys that are studs and just not add pitching when it needed to be done. So where I get frustrated is when last year, for instance, you have Corbin Burns. You finally, after me saying for so long, please just trade for someone, acquire someone. You go trade for Corbin Burns. Well, you don't extend him. You don't sign a free agent. And then what do you do pitching-wise? You don't supplement him. What do you do offensively? You had a big veteran bat that hit over 40 homers with over an 800 OPS. How do you supplement him? Well, you didn't really. I hear you with Tyler O'Neill, but like it's not the same. Where's the big veteran presence in the middle of the lineup? So you head into a season with a young core that everybody knows and loves. You head into a season worse than the year before. Like you're going into the year knowing you're worse. The big production from the outfield, you don't have that. The ace of your staff, a Cy Young winner, you don't have that. You add Charlie Morton, who I like Charlie Morton. He's getting old. No offense, Justin. He's getting old. The guy's got an 11 ERA. You have the worst team ERA in all of baseball. And I can't fathom how I can sit here, you can sit here and say heading into the season, yeah, this team's gonna struggle to pitch. I don't know why they didn't add anything. Well, Russ, the Orioles are what we thought they were. They stink. They can't pitch. Can they hit? Sure. You know what? You're even getting a resurgence here from Cedric Mullins. That should be like an added bonus. Instead, it's like, thank God he's producing, because where would we be? I mean, you have to plan for injuries. They headed into a year with a rotation that you said, even if they stay perfectly healthy, we're going to have starting pitching issues. And of course, that's not the case. Grayson Rodriguez is still trying to come back now. Zach Eflin on the IL. Everybody else not pitching very well. So it's like it's the Seattle Mariners in reverse, right? The Mariners, we know they're not going to hit. We know they can pitch. What do they do about it? Well, nothing. And here we are. They're going to struggle. They're going to be right on the cusp of the playoffs. Do they get in? This Orioles team that it felt like a year ago was the cream of the crop of the AL East, and they're in position A over everyone else because they have this young core, and that core is there for a long time. It just felt like the window was just opening, with the sky being the limit. It felt like the Houston Astros starting a decade ago. But what have they done to progress that? They've gone backwards. You've gone from the cream of the crop in the AL East to letting the Yankees pass you, to letting the Red Sox pass you, to the Blue Jays even going out to get the guy that you let go and probably passing you. Now you're sitting in fourth in a division, and I don't look at this team and say, this is a playoff team. They just have to figure it out. I'm looking at a team that's in a weak American League that doesn't have the pitching to be a playoff team. Do you get it at the trade deadline? I don't know. Might it be too late at that point? I don't know. Do I trust them to go get the pitching? Why would we? They haven't proven to us that they can go get the pitching. So it's the Orioles they just piss me off, man. It's like, and then you go and overpay for Rogers, who's down in the minor leagues last year. You give up Norby, who's killing it for the Marlins now. Rogers isn't even in the big leagues. It's like, just what are you doing? I get so frustrated by this Orioles team and the direction they're going.
Same. And I think they've gotten to the point now where you prospect hoard for so long and you say, no, these are our prospects and you can't have them. Where a guy like Kobe Mayo's like, I don't know what I have to do to get to the big leagues because I'm down here crushing, hitting over 300, hitting 30 home runs, driving in 100 ribeye steak sandwiches in Norfolk, and I can't get called up to the big leagues, yet I can't go somewhere else because this team won't make a move when they had the prospect capital. And now some of the stock might be down on a guy like a Kobe Mayo when you could have moved them and gotten an arm at the top of the market, but you went cheap. You said, no, let's go get this Trevor Rogers guy because we might be able to plug some holes here and there, and then we'll go. But he's been in the minor leagues. They sent him down to AAA 2 weeks after they acquired him, Ben. That's not good. And in an offseason where you have all these guys pre-arb, in a window. The thing about the window, folks, at some point you got to spend, and you spend when guys are pre-arb. They have nobody making any money on that roster. I believe that Tyrone O'Neal might be their highest paid player. And if that's the case, you have to do something, and they just refuse.
They don't. And it feels like the Rodgers move last year was a panic move of, oh, we didn't add the pitching we need to. We have a surplus of prospects. Let's just go get what we can right now. Where I don't know. I sit here and talk about how the Orioles remind me a lot of the Seattle Mariners, but in reverse. Well, let's take our prospect surplus and go get one of those studs out there in Seattle. I know it's not that easy, but flipping Norby around for Trevor Rogers was not the move. It never felt like the move. I get seeing his advanced analytics and thinking you can turn him around, but like that's not the piece right now with this team. This young core needs a Corbin Burns type guy at the top of the rotation. Did it need to be Corbin? No, I loved the trade for him. You didn't extend him. You didn't sign him in free agency, but there were arms out there to add and go get. And we heard all these talks about Dylan Cease is available via trade, potentially. Like we heard all these talks with the Mets, and then Garrett Cole goes down. The Orioles aren't even mentioned when it comes to these big arms. I can't fathom it, and it just feels like this young core and the Baltimore Orioles fans coming back and being excited, and the splash house out there in left field, and the vibes being high. It just feels like we built all of that up, and they were ready to burst onto the scene, and we've just like popped the bubble a little, and it's just floating back down, and it's not working out.
They feel like a fourth place team, Ben. And if they don't do something and do something quick, they could be looking at 84 wins not before too long. But we got more here coming up on FanDuel Sports Network Live. Got a final around the big leagues already. Boston beating up on the White Sox in their Patriots Day game.
That's infected. Maybe getting a tattoo at a 3-day music festival was a bad idea. Lucky for you, an Amazon One medical virtual visit can happen anywhere. Even here. An Amazon pharmacy will deliver antibiotics right to you. So you can breathe easy. Well, sorta.
This MLB season, bet live with FanDuel and make the game come alive. Any homer can feel like a walk-off. Every base, a path to victory. And any strikeout can pay out. Make baseball come alive when you bet live this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if you win.
Meet Jonathan Thompson, an award-winning international travel writer on a mission to discover the world's most dynamic, adrenaline-fueled destinations. From once-in-a-lifetime outdoor adventures to local traditions and cultures, Jonathan will immerse you in the most vibrant metropolitan areas. Elevate your senses, ignite your wanderlust, and let the journey begin as he explores the world's best adventure cities.
Welcome back. Watching your local teams easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup, prefer to stream. Use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe to the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plan. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check getmyhometeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area. FanDuel Sports Network Live, Russell Dorsey, Ben Verlander. Ben, we got a matchup this week that I don't know if a lot of people were looking at on the early schedule. San Diego Padres that are playing the best baseball in all of baseball, and the Detroit Tigers. We just might have the matchup between the best team in the AL and the best team in the NL. We were talking about the Tigers last week and how we look around the landscape in the AL like, is it the Tigers? I think it's the Tigers. And it still feels that way, especially with the way they're swinging the bats, with some of the starting pitching that you're getting, with Casey Mize looking like the guy they thought they were going to get as the 1-1 pick, Spencer Torkelson looking like the guy they thought they were going to get as a former 1-1 pick. This is a really underrated but very good matchup.
Just as we all thought, Russ, the best team in the NL facing off against the best team in the AL, and it's the San Diego Padres against the Detroit Tigers. I'm pumped up for this series because we know what the Padres are, but they're off to, I think, maybe a better start than we thought they could be, being in first place in the division that has the Dodgers in it. So I think if you're the Padres, you're heading into this series thinking, okay, we need to win this, and you're missing Tarek Skubal. You're not going to have to face him. You do get Flaherty in game one, but you're missing Scooble in the series. So all of a sudden, you think, all right, we got to go into Detroit and take care of business because we're not facing their guy. But I think this is just a really fun series. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how my Tigers hold up in this series. The Padres are a fantastic team. Tigers are playing really well. You have the benefit of hosting the series. So as you mentioned, Spencer Torkelson seemingly turned it around. You have, really good rotation. Casey Mize as well, though the Padres are missing him. Riley Green, hopefully coming out of the little funk that he was in to start the season. So I just think I love this matchup because you're getting a star-studded great team against a not star-studded really good team that I just think it's a really fun matchup. AJ Hinch has done a fantastic job just mixing and matching with this offense. And well, it really depends on the pitcher on what offense. You could see a different AJ Hinch might throw out 80 different lineups throughout the year. He really might. And that's just what they do. They know their rotation. It's set. You're going to go with those guys. And then on any given day, the lineup's going to look different. And that's not really how the Padres do it. Tatis is going to be up there at the top. Merrill when healthy. Machado. Bogarts is going to add some good depth to that lineup. So it's just they're two very different teams, both playing really well, that are at the top of their leagues right now. I know the Yankees' record is maybe a smidge better than the Tigers now, but both at the top of their league. And I think it's just this is going to be a fun matchup. I'm pumped for this.
Yeah, and I think you look at a Padres team that is playing well despite being really banged up, right? No Jackson Merrill, no Jake Cronenworth, Luis Arraez in a scary moment last night on Sunday Night Baseball in the collision with Mauricio Dubon having to go on the 7-day concussion IL, Jason Hayward going down. And so they're kind of scrapping together lineups. You got the big boys at the top with Tatis and Machado. But after that, they're kind of Tyler Wade playing center field, and they're kind of mixing and matching with Connor Joe and guys like that. So yes, they are playing very good baseball. I think we both think they're the best team in baseball, but also you can only do that for so long when you're trying to scrap together lineups. But another good matchup we have this week here in my city of Chicago, the Los Angeles Dodgers are in town to face off against the Chicago Cubs in a really big boy matchup this week. The Cubs are playing outstanding baseball. The Dodgers aren't playing their best baseball, but they're still winning ball games. And compared to where these two teams were in Japan or even the start of the season, because they already played out in LA, this is a different Cubs team and a different Dodgers team. I'm excited to see this Chicago Cubs lineup face off against the Dodgers starting pitching, because I know the Dodgers starting pitching is banged up. We say that all the time when we talk about the Dodgers pitching in one form or another. But that 2-3-4 they got there in Chicago with Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, and Michael Busch is swinging the bats as good as any 2-3-4 in all Major League Baseball. You look at the numbers right there. All three guys hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Tuck's been fantastic, been the superstar that you expect. He's making the guys around him better. But even I'm a little surprised that the Cubs are playing as well as they are, even bringing in a superstar player like Tuck, because it's not just that they got a superstar in the middle of the lineup now, but they've gotten incremental developmental improvements from the other guys in that lineup. Seiya Suzuki looking like the guy we saw in the second half last year. Michael Busch, who had a really solid rookie year, taking his game to another level. We don't even have Pete Crow Armstrong up there, but he's showing that he's not just a gold glove guy. He's a guy that can start to swing the bat too, jump the yard on you if you leave something in the zone. So this Cubs team, this isn't the Cubs teams that were rebuilding in the last couple of years. This team can bang.
Russ, I'm not surprised that the Chicago Cubs are 14-10. I'm surprised at it when I look at who they've played. Their schedule has been wild. You have to start the season in Japan to take on the Dodgers. Then again, you play the Dodgers in LA. Now you're playing the Dodgers again at home. You've played the Padres twice. It's like, wait a second. This Cubs team is sitting at 14-10, and over half of their games have been against the two best teams in the league. I mean, that's honestly very impressive that they're sitting here at 14-10. I think this team is really good. We talked about them when Justin Steele went down. They're gonna need to add an arm if they want to have success in the playoffs. I know we can't talk about you're not in the playoffs until you're in them, but this team's really good. I think it's a little bit better than I thought they would be coming into the year, especially given the talent that they've played. Kyle Tucker's been fantastic for them. look, the reason's simple. They acquired Kyle Tucker. We knew that immediately makes him their best player offensively. We know Seiya Suzuki, I think we know he's going to be good. But the reason, I think, is PCA took a massive step forward last year at the end of the year. Could you get more of that this year? Michael Bush, could he take another step forward? That answer has been yes. So far with the Cubs, their question marks have been answered in a positive way. And I think that's why we're seeing them here. And from a Dodgers perspective, we're sitting here with their, with their record being what it is. I think it's 16-7, thinking, is that surprising in a negative way? And you know what, Russ? I was ready to say, like, I am a little, maybe I thought they'd be better. They have a winning percentage right now of 69.5%. If you do that over 162 games, they're on pace to win 113 games. And it's just like, wait, they're not playing
That
very
puts
well.
us on track where we were. Yes.
They're on pace to win 113 games. So, yeah, this is a really fun series. I'm excited for this. The Cubs handled business in LA, and now you get to come home. You get Imanaga in a game as well this series. So, this is a powerhouse series that I'm excited to see.
It's going to be warm here in Chicago this week, too. So the ball is definitely going to be leaving the yard. Well, we've been wondering who the best teams in baseball are, where Mr. Power Rankings is going to give you his. I might give you some as well. We come back on FanDuel Sports Network Live.
You care for the house, the kids, and our future. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's save a little more now so we can create the retirement we want. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
There I was, 16, divorced, remarried with a baby, another on the way, and I could barely read or write. Getting my high school diploma was a catalyst I needed. Now I have a bachelor's and master's, and I became a teacher. When I look at all these success stories, I could not help but think it all started by getting my high school diploma.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup. For the stream, use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe through the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check GetMyHomeTeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area.
Which means only one thing. We got to come up with some power rankings. We talk a lot about teams and how good they are, how good they aren't. Well, we're going to this point in the year, we're almost a month in, going to put together our top 5 power rankings here. I'm going to go first. You're going to go second. And then we're going to yell at each other and tell each other why we're wrong. So I'm going to start with number 5 on my list. I am going to take the Chicago Cubs. We just talked all about them. I think, 1, their record shows they are a good team. But 2, the teams that they have played in this span between the Dodgers and the Padres, and then the Dodgers and then the Padres again, they've played great competition. They're sitting there at the top of the NL Central. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs at number 5. At number 4 for me, I am going to go with the San Francisco Giants. Look, the Giants have been good this year. Giants are good. Now, you go on a road trip that you look at and say, okay, the last 10 games, they're 5-5. You know, like that's fine. Maybe they're coming back to what we thought they might be. Well, look, the Giants are in the midst of playing 17 straight games. They went on a 10-day road trip where they had to go to New York to play the Yankees, to Philly to play the Phillies, and then back to Los Angeles to Anaheim to play an Angels team that's outperforming what they are. So they're playing pretty good baseball right now. You go 5-5 on that road trip. You beat the Yankees in New York. You split with the Phillies in Philly, and then you lose to the Angels after a heartbreaker on Sunday where you should have won. So I would have had the Giants a little higher if it weren't for that bad taste in my mouth after being there on Sunday. But I don't view the last 10 games of that much of a negative going 5-5 on that road trip. Giants are still good. I have them at number 4. At number 3 for me, I'm going to go to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are now playing better. They have their bumps and bruises. They have their injuries. They had a bad stretch where they lost like 3 series in a row, one of those being to the Washington Nationals. But they're playing better now. When I moved them down in my power rankings before, I didn't think they're not a top 5 team in the game of baseball, but they weren't playing like it, and they didn't deserve to be listed there. We know they're a top team in the game of baseball. This is where they belong right now. They are playing better. So I have the Dodgers at number 3. At number 2, I'm going to go with the New York Mets. And if you were to ask me before the season, you're a month in and the New York Mets are at number 2 in the power rankings, you would say, wow, that offense is as good as we thought they might be. They are killing it. And Juan Soto is the king in New York. And that hasn't been the case. Juan Soto hasn't gotten in the swing of things yet. The offense has been okay, but it's been the pitching. They've had some of the best pitching in all of baseball. Kodai Senga has been fantastic. Top 5 pitcher in the game of baseball right now with a sub-1 ERA. If you're going to get this pitching with an offense that we know is going to come around, watch out for the Mets. They're 7-3 in their last 10 and playing really good. Which leaves at number 1, I'm going to go with the San Diego Padres. In my opinion, the clear number 1 right now. I don't know what you're going to have. In my opinion, the Padres are the clear number 1. You have superstars everywhere you look. You have a deep lineup. You have a deeper rotation than maybe we thought at the beginning of the year. You have an elite back into the bullpen. That's the total package. The Padres feel like the total package. They're also leading the best division in baseball. I have no choice but to put the San Diego Padres at number 1. So I'm going Cubs, Giants, Dodgers, Mets, Padres as my top 5. What about you, Russ?
All right. I like what you're thinking about there, and we definitely have a little bit of overlap. So I'm going to start with my number 5 team. I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies. And you talk about a Phillies team that is really starting to hit their stride. They're still not perfect yet. Everybody in that lineup still isn't hitting the way we've seen before, but Kyle Schwarber looks like the Kyle Schwarber that's going to hit 40-plus homers this year. You have Bryce Harper hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Trey Turner really hasn't even gotten going yet. You know, Nick Castellanos and JT Realmuto, Brandon Marsh, had a very, a very down April. And so I expect this team, as the weather starts to heat up, for them to be a better team, but they've still been winning ball games. Aaron Nola has not been great to start the year, but they've still been winning ball games. And I think when you look at where they are, that record with the guys that they have on that roster, I think you can expect a month of May that is going to be really good for the Philadelphia Phillies. Going to number 4, we're going to go with the Chicago Cubs. And I look at this Cubs team very similar to what you mentioned. They're not only playing good baseball, but I think when you look at the strength of schedule that they've played, they could have very easily been in an Atlanta Braves situation where you look at it and say, well, the Cubs put themselves in a deep hole. It's going to be really hard to get themselves out of it. But what they've been able to do is play good baseball, show that they have the best offense in baseball, get enough quality starting pitching. They still have Shota Imanaga at the top of that thing, and they have one of the best farm systems in baseball. So if they want to go out and add some starting pitching here over the next couple of months, they will have the pieces to do that. Let's get to number 3. We have the New York Mets. The New York Mets, Ben, it's a team that I did not expect to see here as we get to the month of May, but I look at that Mets team, to your point, that pitching, man, they've been really good. And I had similar questions for the Mets that I had for the Baltimore Orioles we were talking about earlier. Where are you going to get your innings outside of Kodai Senga, right? You haven't had Sean Manaea all April, yet you've been okay. Clay Holmes might be one of the best free agent signings this entire offseason. Going from the late innings, high leverage guy to pitching in the rotation, he's been absolutely solid for them. So the New York Mets find their way to the number 3 spot. Number 2, I am going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers because I look at that team and I say, you know what? They haven't even hit their stride yet. And it looks like every other day they have a guy go on the IL. And you know what, Ben? It does not matter. And we talked about it when we started our show. They're going to get away with some things because they're just that much more talented than everybody else. And if there's one thing that Andrew Friedman knows how to do, because he knows he's going to take some big swings and gambles on guys that, aren't going to stay healthy all the time, you build quality depth, and that's what they've been able to do over this month. You don't want to live on depth, but until you can get some of those guys back, those guys, that depth has been helping them significantly. And number 1, no surprise here, you and I both agree on this, San Diego Padres went down to Houston, whooped up on the Houston Astros. Fernando Tatis Jr. playing like an MVP. Also, I think he's the best athlete in baseball, and I got into a big fight with people on Twitter for the last 24 hours about that. In a tweet, Ben, that I didn't think would do anything. It's now at, I think, 600,000 views. And this is coming from a guy that loves Ellie De La Cruz, loves Mookie Betts, loves all these freak athletes we have around the game. That guy made a sliding catch, transfer into the throwing hand, bullet to first base. You can't tell me he's not the freakiest athlete we have in the game. I'm not saying they're not other athletes. I'm not saying they're guys with other physical traits. That guy is the best athlete we have in our game. All right. I'm off.
I love it, Russ. I ain't got much to say. I had in my top 10, I had the Phillies at 6. You had them at 5. We're pretty spot on, my friend.
There we go. I'm happy to hear that because my thing with the Giants, I'm with you. Like if this last series goes a different way, I might have them in my top 5. Like maybe I flip-flop them and in the Philadelphia Phillies, right? Yeah. But I just look at their schedule and it's just not as strong as the Phillies. It's not as strong as the Cubs, obviously. And for the Dodgers, the Dodgers went into Philly and the Phillies handled them. So you kind of look at those head-to-head matchups as we get here early in the season. And so that's why I left the team like the Giants off. But, we come back next week and we have a top 5. The Giants could very well be in there. I'm going to be in San Francisco on Friday doing sidelines on Friday Night Baseball. I believe your brother's going to be on the mound, so that should be pretty cool.
Bring him some good luck. He had a great start Sunday. He needs some more good luck in San Francisco.
No, I hope so. I'm looking forward to getting back to the Bay. We just had a lot of fun today on FanDuel Sports Network Live. That's Ben Verlander. I'm Russ Dorsey. We will see you guys next time.
FanDuel held a shooting contest to promote its new MySpend tool. MySpend makes it easy to view your deposit and bet history all in one place. Because betting without knowing how much you're spending is like shooting in the dark. See the whole picture